So the beginning of 116. So we'll do the Arabic as we normally do. قال المؤلف رحمه الله رضي الله عنه وعنكم نفعنا به وبكم. It says وَاعْلَمْ أنه كما يجب عليك أن تشكر الله على النعم الخاصة بك كالعلم والصحة كذلك يجب عليك أن تشكره على النعم العامة كإرسال الرسل وإنزال الكتب ورفع السماء وبسط الأرض. So we spoke about this many weeks ago. I think that maybe the first week when we spoke about gratitude and being grateful. So he says at the top of 116, first paragraph there, know that just as you must thank God for favours which are proper to you, such as knowledge and health, you must also thank Him for favours which are general, such as the sending of messengers, the revelation of books, raising up the sky and stretching out the earth. So it says basically that in terms of the approach that a person has to have to shukr, in other words, how they're going to, in essence, maintain that gratefulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the Imam is saying that one not only talks about things that are specific to one's life, having good health, having intelligence, having clothes to wear, having whatever else it is that we're grateful for. He says that's those things are specific. So it's also to the general things that are around us, that even if we had those things, without those general bounties that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us, the specific bounties that we have would have no meaning. So if the whole world was on fire all the time, what's the point of having food? It's not going to work. Or if the world was 80 below zero all the time, what's the point of having a nice pair of bongs? It's not going to help. It's not going to do anything. Or if the gravitational pull of the sun wasn't as it was, and the earth wasn't situated as it was in that life, there would be no life anyway. So we've got to give thanks for both those ni'am. And also, if one wants to interpolate on that, one could also talk about the ni'am. One should be grateful for the ni'am, the blessings that one knows about, like this eyesight that we have, and those that one doesn't know about. So that whatever that may be. So we don't know about it, so we can't say what it is. So we're thanking Allah. Ya Allah, we thank you for those things that I have knowledge of, and Ya Allah, I'm grateful to you for those things that are beneficial to me and other human beings that I don't know about, and other creations. So it's a bit of an extension of that. No.
The recognition would be that I don't know. So in that case, the recognition would be that I don't know of the blessings.
Yeah, so the shukr, the gratefulness of the recognition of the fact that I don't know, and for the blessings is both. It's both. No. And then he continues. So that's pretty straightforward, is it not? He says, also, وَأَصْلُ الشُّكْرِ مَعْرِفَةُ الْقَلْبِ بِالنِّعَمِ وَأَنَّهَا مِنَ اللَّهِ وَحْدَهُ لَمْ يَصِلْ إِلَيْهِ شَيْءٌ مِّنْهَا بِحَوْلِهِ وَقُوَّتِهِ بَلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ. So he says that, the basis of thankfulness is that the heart be aware of such favours that they are from God alone, and that nothing comes to one through one's own ability and power, but only through God's grace and mercy. And again, we spoke about these principles previously in other classes on the same subject, just not that long ago. So he says the asl, the foundation or the basis of being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we said there's three things, did we not? Enlighten us as to those three things. Oh, it's like that, is it?
Recognition,
yep.
realization, and application.
Right, so it's the recognition. Is it that we spoke about that? So the Imam, I didn't make it up, I got it from the Imam. So the essence of gratefulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the recognition. As he says ma'rifatul qalb bin ni'am. That one's heart recognizes. In other words, one's soul, one's being, one's essence, mind, if you like, recognizes the ni'mah, recognizes the bounty. Otherwise, difficult to give gratefulness to Allah Azza wa Jal if one doesn't recognize the bounty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon that individual or upon one. Yeah? Wahdahu. It's from Allah wahdahu. And annahu huwa al-mun'im as well. So there's two, in reality, it's pretty subtle, but in reality there's two aspects to that. The recognition of the ni'mah, the blessing, and the mun'im. and the bestower of that blesser. So the blessing and the blesser. It's the recognition of both those things hand in hand that allow an individual to in reality give thanks, because if they only recognize the bounty, then it's being good, or it's doing good for the sake of good. How much reward is in that?
Not much.
Which is how much?
0.
Right? Nothing.
That's
Nada.
kufr in itself, right?
Zip.
That's kufr, because you don't know it.
Well, you could call it riya, shirk al-khafi. You could call it riya, because I'm doing it. Why am I doing it? Because I just think it's the right, that's not. So it's not a bad thing to do that. The thing is, why do something that there's no reward for? Why do something that stays in this temporary world? And even worse, why that doesn't associate one with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and instead associates one with I'm a good person. I don't do anything wrong to people. How many times have you heard it? Who said you're a good person? By what standard are you judging yourself as a good person? Imagine someone like they do a crime, and then they're the judge of their own crime. So that's what it is. That's how insane and absurd, maybe insane isn't the right word, but how absurd it is. It's an absurdity. No one's allowed to judge and try their own case at all. There's no, except the kings, they just do whatever they want. It's just called arbitrariness. There's no, or despotism or tyranny. So that's the reality of the life we live. When we're Tyrannosaurus, but without the Rex. It's just tyranny. That's what we're doing. We don't know about when that's the life in which we live. Just feel like it. That's tyranny. That's what tyranny is. I feel like it. Today I'm going to kill all the white people. Tomorrow I'm going to kill all the black people. Next week, anyone who's under 5 foot. One. Right? Then the people with blue eyes. And then, what's that? It's tyranny. It's tyranny. That's what we're doing to our own selves. The tyranny may or may not affect others, but of course it does. But in reality, so we have to recognize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the one who gives, He's the bounteous subhanahu wa ta'ala, that provides the bounties. وَحْدَهُ وَلَمْ يَصِلْ إِلَيْهِ شَيْءٌ. So that a person knows that nothing comes, it's pretty good here, says it, and that nothing comes to one through one's own ability and power, one's capacity, one's intelligence. And isn't that what the opposite of that we just said? So the person's making their own, I'm a good person, I do this, they're making their own judgments, their own ability, their own capacity. I'm fine, I'm here on earth, aren't I? Did you bring yourself here? No. Are you going to take yourself away when the time comes? No. What ability? What ability are you talking about? What ability is it that you refer to? You're already here. Well, if you don't have the capacity to bring yourself into existence and then make yourself disappear from existence, and the third one, which are the actions of Allah, or to maintain, who can guarantee they're going to be alive tomorrow? Or in an hour? It's impossible. No one can give that guarantee. No one can give that guarantee. It's impossible. So, didn't bring yourself, can't keep yourself, and don't know when you're going, and you're talking about ability. Right? Doesn't make any sense to the sane individual. So he says, and it's all from the fadl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's all from the virtue of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's all from the grace of Allah azza wa jalla, as he said, God's grace and mercy. Then he says, وَغَايَةُ الشُّكْرِ أن تطيع الله بكل نعمة أنعم بها عليك فإن لم تطيعه بها فقد تركت فإن لم تطيعه بها فقد تركت الشكر عليها وإن عصيته بها فقد وقعت في الكفران وعنده تتبدل النعم بالنقمة ومن بقيت عليها نعمة مع عصيانه لله بها فهو مستدرج. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى سنستدرجهم من حيث لا يعلمون إنما نملي لهم ليزدادوا إثما. So he says, the limit of thankfulness is to use one of his favors in his obedience. If you do not do so, you will have neglected to give thanks for it. And if you use them to disobey Him, you will have fallen into ingratitude, whereby favours turn into afflictions. Anyone who still enjoys some favours while using them in the disobedience of Allah, in disobedience to God, is being lured. God the Exalted has said, we shall lure them from whence they do not know, and we only give them rain that they may grow in sinfulness. وفي الحديث إن الله يملي للظالم حتى إذا أخذه لم يفلته. So we'll continue that. It says, God gives rain to the wrongdoer until when He takes him, He does not let him go. That's from the hadith of the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi wa sallam. So now it's getting a bit intense in terms of what the Imam's talking about and the shukr that one should have and how. So he says, I don't like the word limit. It's not the limit. He says waghaya. Waghaya, right? The ghaya it has two connotations. It means the ghaya, the aqsa al-hadd, yani the furthest, the highest limit, maybe you might say, but and it also has the connotation is the goal. An individual should be striving to achieve this type of shukr. أن تطيع الله بكل نعمة أنعم بها عليك. Okay, so what's the difference between hamd and shukr?
Hamd is a verbal thankfulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and shukr is physical.
Right? So where do they all start? In the heart. And they go to the? And then? So hamd and shukr are the same in the first two aspects of it. They're the same. But the difference with shukr is that it turns into action. And so as we say, so the Imam's saying, he's giving us the definition. Like shukr is actually a very easy subject, not like sabr and the others. But for some reason it's very hard to conceptualize, and it's even harder to practice because we're busy. And now we've got a few days off. Is that the case? Well, not everyone's still working, whatever. Have a think about it. Be grateful. Have a think about what you have had, especially now it's a new year. Okay, we don't want to get into the whole halal haram. It's a new year, okay? And it's time to reflect. That's what everyone else is doing. It's good. Manash. Take a time. Any time is a good. Any time is tafakkur or tahasibu anfusakum qabla an tahasabu, to take account of your own self. You should be doing that anyway. Doesn't matter what that time of day, year, month it is. It's irrespective. But it's a reflective time for people. And we should take advantage of the fact that other people are being reflective in this time by also being extra reflective. And what are the ni'am? Count the ni'am that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you through this, miladi. They call it Sinid Miladi, what do they call it? The Gregorian calendar, whatever. It's the miladi since the birth of the Prophet Isa alayhi salam. So it's good to celebrate the birth of the Prophet Isa alayhi salam. Whether it's this day or another day, who knows? But we love Isa alayhi salam, Jesus. Alright, so he says that. That's the goal that we're trying to achieve. What's the point of recognizing the favour of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon an individual in the things that are khas bihi, specific to an individual or personal, if you like to say? In other words, our bodies, first and foremost, and our souls. What's more close to us, or what's more specific to us than our own bodies or souls? Yeah, you would hope so. That'd be big time if you could do that. If you could get to that, that'd be awesome. Alright, other than that, the next level down, ourselves. So there's nothing. So if we're not giving thanks, not being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our own bodies, in our own minds, in our own hearts, then how can we really give gratitude anywhere else in reality? How can a person achieve giving true gratitude in the way that's been defined in any other way, shape or form? Highly unlikely that's going to happen. It may be on occasion, when someone looks in their bank account or on the app on their bank account and finds there's an extra, someone's paid their money, they're happy, yeah, they give gratitude, alright. But is it gratitude, is it in reality, if the one's not giving gratitude with their body, is it in reality gratitude to Allah for the gift that Allah's given that individual, or is it, it could be, maybe it isn't, Or is it just gratitude for the fact that that person's worked hard or done a good deal, or and they want their money? Like, what kind of gratitude is it, and who's it to? So if an individual isn't doing it in their body in the first instance, it becomes difficult for them to do it in other things, because when they attribute whatever bounties they have to themselves, their own capacity, their own connections, their own abilities, their own intelligence, their own education, their own nous, whatever you want to call it. And then once an individual does that, then Allah's taken out of the picture. So that's where the beginning point is. And how is that achieved? By saying, Alhamdulillah, I can see. Thank God for that. So now not using the eyes to look at things that are haram. Otherwise, how is one being grateful to Allah? Allah said, here, take these eyes, take this eyesight, and I've created a light for you, which is the other thing that we need, because there's no point having eyes if there's no light, is there? Can you see anything in the dark? No. No one can see anything in the dark, eh? So there's no point having eyes without light. So the shukr has to come from the light as well. But when Allah's given me those eyes, alhamdulillah, and I can see, how am I using them? What am I watching? What am I looking at in my phone? What am I, that classic thing they say, something on the TV or whatever it is on classic culture. If I die, delete my browser history. If anyone's in a situation like that, people are making tawsiyah in their wills for that now. Yeah, of course, they're saying, yeah, if I die, the executor delete my browser history, whatever. So if anyone's in a situation like that they're looking at things they shouldn't be looking at, then they're not giving shukr. There's no shukr. How can one be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the bounty of seeing if one doesn't use that seeing in a way that pleases Allah? It's actually the opposite. That's what the Imam says. So that's as an example. I mean, it's not that hard, is it? Do we get it? Just here for the ride? No?
It's a frightening thought what you just said. It is. About the browser history, because we don't know when we are going to die, and there's a browser history in the brain.
No doubt.
Once the light goes out, no deletion of that browser history.
Only with Tawbah.
It's a bit, it's quite
daunting. It is, yeah.
That, isn't it?
It is. So that's why we try and use it as much as possible, all the faculties that we've been given from Allah, in the way that pleases Allah Azza wa Jalla. Otherwise it's not shukr. It might be hamad, alhamdulillah I can see, but if we're not doing it in the right way, and then the Imam talks about it, he says, so if you don't obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, don't maintain obedience to Allah Azza wa Jal in that faculty that you've been given, or in that virtue that you've been given, or that bounty or favour that an individual's been given, then when one's left gratefulness, one becomes ungrateful. Because then that individual's saying that, yeah, I can see, no worries, thanks, see you later. And how does it feel? How does it feel when you do something that that no one recognises you for, or no one says thanks? لا نريد منكم لا نريد منهم جزاء ولا شكورا. The believers don't do anything for people to say jaza or shukr, and give them a reward or a prize, or to say thanks. We don't do that. But we should, if someone does anything to us as believers, be grateful to others. Whoever doesn't thank the people, or is not grateful to the people, is not grateful to Allah, which is another meaning of shukr. Man lam yashkur al-nas lam yashkur illah. It's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. So that's another form of it in that sense. So the person who doesn't use it, the faculty, the gifts, whatever, money, whatever it might be, their house in a way that's their TV, their phone in a way which is all a gift, their clothes aren't proper, they don't cover them in the right way, whatever the case is, their hair, their hands, whatever it might be, then when ultimately they fall into ingratitude. So that's not using it in that way. Then the other way is when وَإِنْ عَصَيْتَهُ بِهَا فَقَدْ وَقَعْتَ فِي الْكُفْرَانِ. So not using it, okay, not doing those things is one thing, but then actually doing what Allah hates, when using that thing to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those faculties or those gifts or those bounties or favours, to disobey Allah, when then one becomes وَقَعَ فِي الْكُفْرَانِ. And we know what kufr is what?
Denial.
Right? To deny what? The blessings, which means to deny ultimately to deny the blessings the recognition of the fact that there are from Allah is saying that, no, Allah's not there. That's really in reality what it is. If we look down, break it down to its simplest level, that's why it's detrimental. وَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِدَنَّكُمْ. And then the opposite, وَإِن كَفَرْتُمْ إِنَّ عَذَابِي لَشَدِيدٌ. If you are grateful to me, I will increase you, which is what we read last week or the week before. And if you deny my favours, then my chastisement is grievous. وَعِنْدَهُ تَتَبَدَّلَ النِّعَمْ بِالنِّقَمْ. And at that time, it says it here, you will have, whereby favours turn into afflictions. Favours turn into afflictions. Niqam, that's the opposite of ni'am. Ni'am is the favours and niqam is the affliction. In other words, when one uses one's body in a way that isn't pleasing to Allah Azza wa Jal, then their body becomes an affliction. Like these guys that lift weights and bigorexia, whatever they call it, or anorexia, if you want to put it the other way, for people that they're so obsessed with their bodies, whatever their situation is. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm trying to give an example. They get into a situation where they keep, the bigorexia guys, they keep doing weights and keep taking steroids, and they become obsessed. They train for 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, every single day. It becomes an obsession. So the person doesn't recognize the virtues of Allah Azza wa Jalla and the bounties of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and be grateful to Allah by using their body in the right way, which is what? Salat. فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ. If you become free, then go to another type of worship, another type of ibadah. Not just the same one, because it gets boring for human beings, but change the type of worship you do to Allah. Not 7 hours, 8 hours, every day, every single day, lifting iron from the ground up and then putting it back down, and taking huge amounts of steroids. Heaps of people dying now, they're 40 athletes, 40, 45, 50, because of their hearts basically just explode. They have a heart attack because too much pressure from taking all those drugs. And they're on the YouTube, they just talk, oh yeah, one guy's like, I know that my natural function will never work again. That's it. I'm never going to function properly as a man ever again. No more, my body will not produce testosterone anymore, but I'm alright. Normal. It's become a normal thing to do isyan. And that's the other way around. If the sister wants to cover up her body, it's abnormal. You want to wear a hijab? Why? It's almost 2018. We're free now, and we're liberated, and we're civilized. It's civilized. It's uncivilized to wear a hijab. Except 200 years ago and 300 years ago, when the colonialists went to Africa and they saw people running around naked, what did they say to them? And Australia. They were uncivilized. Well, make up your mind. Can't have it both ways. Either you were uncivilized and they were civilized, or now you're uncivilized and we're civilized. And if that Nobel Prize winning lady, I forget what her name is. What is it?
Tawakkul Kamen.
Sure, it's a nice name. Tawakkul Kamen. I think she's Turkish, isn't she? They asked her, you're educated and you got a Nobel Prize and whatever else. I think it was in science. Why do you wear hijab? She said, because, from throughout history, the more civilized the people became, the more clothes they wore. And the less civilized they were, the less clothes they wore. That's why I wear these clothes. So, again, what happens? What happens when a sister doesn't treat her body in that way? It's not for me, it's her body. She can do whatever she wants with it. Tell me what happens.
She's not, she's in ingratitude.
And what happens? What happens to her body? Don't forget about it. Don't worry about her connection to Allah. We know what that is. What ends up happening to her psyche and her body? Right. She's become 50 and she's doing those, surgeries to stretch her face and puff up her lips and then make her eyebrows, whatever, and her eyelashes, thingity-bob, and her cheeks, whatchamajooz, and whatever else. And then it doesn't, I don't want to mention it, but even other parts of the body that maybe maximum a few hundred people, even if they're really promiscuous, see, they're fixing those parts up as well. It becomes, again, an obsession in a different way. Have to have these shoes, can't go out. One time, ages ago, we went to my father, Allah yarhamah, was a landscaper, and we went to this lady's house, and we went on the right day, but she thought it was the wrong day. She was about 85. She wouldn't come out of the house. She was like behind the door. She goes, I haven't put my makeup on. She's 85, like really old. I don't know how old she was, but it's like, I'm not coming out. You come on the wrong day. Like, no, we come every third Tuesday, whatever it was. Like, that's the extent of it. So you can't leave the house without putting in. What ends up happening to the body? Like the guys their hearts blow up, and their testosterone no longer functions. What they do, some of these guys, they know that's going to happen. They go to the sperm banks and they deposit their sperm there, so that later on, if they want to have children, that's the way they have to have children. They know that. They know that that's it. Their body. What happens to these people? Their skin, their hair starts to fall out. Their skin, the pores all start. So it becomes a niqam. It's a ni'am that someone's attractive. But hey, we all age. No one's going to stay 25 forever, or whatever the perfect age is. No one. It's not going to happen. Unless when you go Jannah, you'll be 33, you'll be nice. All right, no worries. But until then, we all age. That's it. We all get old. We all get grey. We all start to wrinkle. We all aren't as strong as we are, and we once were. So if an individual isn't grateful to Allah Azza wa Jal in the way they use the bounty that they've been given by Allah, then when there becomes a nikam, it overtakes them, so to speak. Or the people that have money. That's all they want, man. Like, people like one of the guys I know, he's buying islands, and he's still working. Ya you own an island. All right, chill out. Go to that island and go and sit there on the sand and, take it easy. No. What for? Because that's it. It's in his head. He can't stop it anymore. And so whatever the bounty is, eating. Someone loves eating. They're not grateful to Allah. What's going to happen when Allah? Socializing. Someone loves socializing. Not grateful for the skills they got. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's all they'll be doing. They'll lose themselves. They'll be whatever, just trying to get more friends and more numbers and more. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Niqam, we did that. Mahak. فَهُوَ مُسْتَدْرَجٌ. So the person that's in that situation that has, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen wa salatu wa salam ala khayr lana wa ala alihi wa sahbihi sallam. So the person, we may as well sit there, I think it's empty, isn't it? Fill it up. If there's no one sitting there, come forward and sit there. So you can, at least whoever's going to write, so you can write something, so it's not difficult. So the situation of the person who uses the bounties that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's istidraj. Istidraj meaning daraja is to go up, istidraj is to go down. So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pulling them away from success, so to speak. Away from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala and far from Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the example is, the ultimate example other than the shaitan, where he's a good example, is Fir'aun, for example. Fir'aun, Pharaoh, what did he have? No? No, he tried to get up there, build the pyramids or whatever to get up there, but
I think the horse, didn't his ride used to go up and down when he wanted to get off the road?
Fir'aun, mainly he had awlad wa mal. Awlad meaning, what's awlad? Progeny, but it's more than that in terms of the greater meaning of his followers. Those people who are loyal to him. Those people, awlad, that partook to his philosophy about the world, the universe, existence, kingship, sovereignty, power, and in the end, ilahiyya, in other words, him being God. So and amwal is their money. So he had all that, and what did it do for him? He didn't use it in a way, he didn't thank God for it. He said he was God when Allah Azza wa Jal. And then what happened? He's in the museum there in Britain, so everyone can see him. Till now, after all those years, and it's in the Qur'an that we're going to preserve your body, so it's an ayah, so it's a proof. Go and there's his body, it's there in the museum. Still not resting, he's not at peace, still till now. The body's not, the soul doesn't rest. So, what about today? What have we got? Men, power, connections, people following our philosophy, and we all got money. So we're our own kings. Kings 100 years ago didn't live like us. There was no king 100 years ago who could flick a switch and turn on the light. There was not one. There was not one king 100 years ago, we can't say 50, but 100 years ago, that flicked on a switch and turned cold water into hot water instantly. Have we got that? There's none. There was no king 100 years ago that could turn the heat into cool. The heat of the air into coolness. It wasn't. There's not one. With all the lands they had and all the followers they had and all the obedient slaves they had, and that 100 is the minimum. Go back from 100 all the way to the beginning of time. What didn't exist. There was no kings that could lift up an implement and see someone on the other side of the world instantaneously. Or talk to someone on the other side of the world instantaneously. It didn't happen. And so we think that we're not like the Fara'ina or Fir'aun. Of course, that trait, when a person feels they've got power, which is the people, and also the money, it's the hila, the people is more the hawl and the quwwah. The quwwah is the people, the hawl is the money, and they've got opportunity. Isn't that what we want money for? Opportunity? Well, that's what hawl is. La hawla wa la quwwah. What opportunity? You've got all the money in the world, you book a ticket to go to wherever, Hawaii, it's North Shore surfing season there, you want to catch the big waves. Well, Allah decides there's an earthquake or a tsunami or sickness in the family or it doesn't matter how much money an individual has. It doesn't matter how many connections an individual has or how. But Allah doesn't decree the thing, it's not going to happen. So the person who thinks they're relying on that whatever ni'mah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them, then when Allah Azza wa Jal, that ni'mah is going to be a nikmah and it's going to be their destruction. Al-istidraj, what is he saying in English? By turn, anyone who still enjoys some favours while using them is being lured. So he's saying being lured, in other words, lured away from Allah and lured to their own destruction in the end. He says, God the Exalted has said, we shall lure them from whence they do not know. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they're so drunk or obsessed, that's probably a better word, they're so obsessed with the ephemeral, the outward appearance of whatever bounty and blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them, they don't know where the pain's coming from. They don't know. No one knows. It ends up being the cause of their destruction. And the other verse, we only give them rain that they may grow in sinfulness. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, نُمْنِ لَهُمْ لِيَزْدَادُوا إِثْمًا. And the reason being, why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them more rain? In other words, more rope. As they say, give the person more rope and they'll end up hanging themselves. Why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do that? And that's in the hadith, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَمْلِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives rain to the wrongdoer until when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes him, لِلظَّالِمْ حَتَّى إِذَا أَخَذَهُ لَمْ يُفْلِتْهُ. So that the oppressor, the wrongdoer, the zalim, that individual, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him that rain, so when it's time to be judged, there's no way out. And it's not because Allah's been nasty, because the dhulm is haram on Allah. Allah made dhulm, oppression of others, in other words, to treat someone unjustly, haram upon himself. It's because that's what that person, that's how they are. Dug their own grave, right? Every lamb gets hanged by its own shank and all the other stories that we hear about individuals. Right? That's what they wanted. That's what their heart desired. Wa na'udhu billahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the hadith is what we said that. So, one minute shukr. Any questions? Is it clear? It's pretty simple, isn't it? Or am I just reading not enough into it? Mate, isn't it one of the simplest chapters we've done? ومن الشكر كثرة الثناء على الله سبحانه وتعالى والفرح بالنعم من حيث إنها وسيلة إلى نيل القرب من الله أو من حيث إنها دالة على عناية الله بعبده. Beautiful chapter, beautiful little paragraph there. So it is part of thankfulness to praise God frequently. So this is kind of just a revision for us because we've done all these things, is it not? It's part of thankfulness to make too much of His favours, even those that are small. It is related that God once said, oh jeez, it's a shame that was...
Did you miss a paragraph?
I don't know, did I? Am I reading on the right page? It's part of thankfulness to praise and to rejoice for the favours. Jazakallah khair, I think I did. and to rejoice for the favours bestowed, because they are means of attaining to the propinquity of God. It's a good word. And because they are evidence of God's solicitude for His servant. So we spoke about that 2 weeks ago, I think it was, when we said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He gives a bounty. So the first part is, let's talk about the first part. وَمِنَ الشُّكْر, so part of being grateful to Allah, كَثْرَةُ الثَّنَاءِ عَلَى اللَّهِ, alhamdulillah. Which part of shukr is it out of the three?
Recognition and the vocalization.
Right, so the first two. Hamd and shukr to that point are the same. There's no differentiation. But shukr goes differently with what?
The application.
Right, thank you. وَالْفَرَحُ بِالنِّعْمِ مِنْ حَيْثُ إِنَّهَا. So, this is the important factor that we spoke about. We said that the person who Allah gives money to, and they spend it in the right way, Allah gives them more money. Then someone asked a good question about, won't that person be more attached to the money because they're getting more money? And the answer is no, because their actual attachment isn't to money, it's to who? Which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's exactly what this is. Yeah? So it's al-farah, to be celebratory, to be happy, to be joyous. And to rejoice for the favours bestowed. Why would a person rejoice in having more money, better cars, finer clothes, getting better looking as they age, whatever the case might be?
So they can thank Allah more.
Right? Because they're actually, in reality, getting closer to Allah. In reality, whatever it is, they're being grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why they're happy, not because of the thing, because they're getting closer to Allah. And then, beautiful part, he says, وَصِلَةٌ إِلَى اللَّيْلِ قُرْبِ مِنَ اللَّهِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى أَوْ مِنْ حَيْثُ إِنَّهَا دَالَةٌ عَلَى عِنَيَةِ اللَّهِ بِعَبْدِهِ. So there's two aspects to it. Firstly, that it's pointing that a person's got proximity to Allah. You're reading more Qur'an, you're remembering more. Whoa, that's good, man. Allah loves me. That's the second part of it. إِنَّهَا دَالَةٌ عَلَى عِنَيَةِ. Now Allah's looking out for you. Allah's looking out for you, that you've got more deen in your life, that you've got more piety in your life, that you're doing it before. You never used to pray rak'atan al-awwabin, the 2 rak'at after the sunnah of Maghrib, which goes up to how many?
4 or 6
or
20. Jazakallah khairan. Up to 20 in the Shafi'iyah. Because what are you doing between Maghrib and Isha not worshipping Allah? What else is going on? It's dark, but in our day and age, it's not dark, right? So, but in reality, that's how it used to be back in the day. So what's going on? There's no time for work and play. That's it. The world's changing. The world's changing. It's going from light to dark. And the same thing between the prayer of Fajr until the Ishraq or Shuruq al-Shams. What are you doing? It's still dark. The world's changing. It's a major consternation. It's a major changing, shifting of the cosmic forces in the universe. And I haven't got time for that. When was the last time you saw the sunset? Or the sunrise? Bad news, man. If you're not watching the sunrise and set, it means you're not with it. Sorry, I'm not with it either. I haven't been watching it for a little while, but that's right. What? The sun, the biggest thing in our whole galaxy, our whole solar system. Oh man, I'll just watch it it was a live, what do you call it? What do they call that thing? Live recording? What is it?
Instagram.
Live feed. I'll just watch it later, man. I don't have to watch it now. What do you mean I don't have the sun? What do you mean you're not connected to the sun? What do you mean? You're a human being? Sun not there, so there's no life. Not just for the light and the heat, but for the gravitational pull. When's the last time you saw the moon? No moon, no tides. No tides, no life. That's what I mean, we're city people, so we've got a couple of days here, 3 or 4 days. Plan them out properly. Don't just watch Netflix or whatever and chill. Do something useful with your life. Plan to do something for Allah, to give shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You've got 4 days. Alright, the first day tomorrow, whenever it is, you just want to chill out, it's going to be hot. Sunday, beach, Meshil Hall, alright, it's going to be 50 degrees. Alright, what about Monday? No one's going to be around. It's a day of rest. People will be chilling out. People will be taking it easy, resting. What are you going to be doing? What about the day after that? People are not going to be around, except if you go to the supermarket when they're open. It's like there hasn't been food in the country for like 20 years. You go in the afternoon, there's nothing on the shelves. Like, man, it was closed for 1 day. Shop was closed for 1 day. It's like a majaa, I don't get it. Anyway, what's your plans for these 4 days? What are you planning to do for your connection to Allah that you couldn't do in the rest of the year because you're working, busy, engaged, whatever. And you don't need to wake up at the break of dawn to go to work, so you can wake up a bit early, do your tahajjud, do your dhikr, watch the sun come up, and go back to sleep if you like, or have a coffee and go for a walk, whatever. Chai latte, my bad. Chai latte, and then do whatever you got to do.
Now you got a coffee shake in the morning.
Coffee, all right. Coffee in the morning, chai latte evening. My bad. I'm learning. All right. So 4 days. What's going on? What are we going to do? And then are we going to say, oh, I didn't get it this year, I'll get it next year? So those things that we get from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if they make us feel closer to Allah, it means Allah is with us. It means we feel that Allah yuhibbul, Allah ma'as sabirin, Allah's with us. And that should increase our iman. And if it increases our iman, guess what happens? We're closer to Allah. And then it goes again, the cycle is exponentially stronger for us rather than the opposite. So they're the types of things that we've got to keep in mind. They're the types of things that we've got to keep in the forefront of our mind, because that's how it's so subtle, shukr. It's there, but it just disappears instantaneously. And even when we see the food, we say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, some people. And then by the time at the end of the meal, they forgot Allah, they forgot themselves, they're just eating. So it's a subtle thing. Should we finish the chapter, or should we leave it for next? Yeah? At least someone's awake. ومن الشكر تعظيم النعمة وإن كانت صغيرة يربى عن الله سبحانه وتعالى يرى عن الله سبحانه وتعالى ويرى عن الله سبحانه وتعالى أنه قال لبعض أنبيائه إذا سقط إليك حب مسوسة فاعلم أني قد ذكرتك الله بها فاشكرني عليها. It is related, it is part of thankfulness to make too much of his favours. To make much of his favours, even though they are small. It is related that God once said to one of his prophets, whenever so I grant you a poor grain of wheat, know that I have remembered you thereby. Therefore thank me for it. Now that's pretty heavy duty. That's pretty heavy duty. So that means when you go into your function and you're all dressed up nice and it rains on you, it means Allah's remembering you. Or you get sick when you wanted to do something and you couldn't do it, remember Allah, it means Allah's remembering you. Or you stub your toe whenever, it means Allah's remembering you. And the example he said, وَمِنَ الشُّكْرِ تَعْظِيمَ النِّعْمَةِ. So in other words, no matter how insignificant it is, we have to make it significant. Why? Right? It's from Allah. That's it. It doesn't happen these days, but in the old days, it used to be it's the thought that counts. Now no, it's got to be iPhone X with the thing and the whatever 10 or whatever. Now we don't. The thought doesn't count anymore because we're too materialistic. But in my day, I always used to hear people saying it. Always. Yeah, it's done get crappy presents, and it's the thought that counts. And people are actually grateful. Now when I'll give them the best thing ever, and they're like, yeah. It's because we've got a sense of what? Entitlement. Mahak. People are entitled. That's it. I'm so-and-so, don't you know me? I'm entitled. I've got a car, I can come and go, let's pull money out of this thing in the wall. Imagine if someone came from somewhere else, right? Not from this planet, and they've seen what we did when we go to the, swiping our phones and swiping our cards and tapping, and we're getting things and we're all happy about it, and, all the people that line up, for days on end to get the first iPhone, or concert ticket. I'm serious, I'm just serious, really. No? Yeah, okay, some of those things may. Oh, okay, he's added the story. Khalas, we won't cut it too deep then, we'll just leave it as a surface wound and it will heal quickly, inshallah.
By the white aliens.
Right, they'll be looking at us we put our card on the wall and we pick up money and we're counting it so no one sees. And the angels are a different story, just think of the things we do that are abnormal in terms of the natural ecosystem that we live in. It's abnormal. It's not to say that we shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that those things, if we do it and we turn it to Allah, we elevate. we get closer to Allah. And if we don't, I mean, don't hang out for the iPhone, but that's just the extreme example. But the other things, you know what I mean? It connects us to Allah, it increases our faith. Those things. Those things should be hopefully here but I know it's hard because we're always under pressure. I've got to be somewhere, running late, traffic's a shocker. You go to get money from the bank, you wait like an hour because the people just are hopeless. Or you go to, get something that just should take 5 minutes and the people just don't know what they're doing. They don't care anymore because they're also entitled. Like, even though I'm working here, why are you telling me that I should have to do that because I'm somebody? Where's customer service anymore? There's no such thing. You hardly ever see it. It's a rarity, in my view, to go somewhere.
Does this tie back into muraqabah?
Yeah.
That's part of
well, yeah, certainly. It's a type of it. It's a type of being conscious of Allah Azza wa Jal. But this one's hard and subtle because it's the things we love. Love drinking this, and we love wearing these, and we love going there, and we love hanging out with that, and we love eating that, and we love it. It's great. It's what we live for, us, in the first world. We live for our desires. There's no other reason for us to live. It's only desires. We don't live for needs. We're taken care of. And if you can't take care of it, someone else will take care of it. Your fellow citizen, through the government, will take care of it for you. So it's all, which is a good system. It's the best system ever. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, in terms of people bonding together. In poor, it means it's the ants or the gnats or something like that have gotten into it and it's off. It's like gone brown. You're like a rice. Sometimes when it goes brown, it's because some insect has got in there and affected it. Gnawed in it. That's a good word. All right. وَمِنَ الشُّكْرِ التَّحَدُّث بِالنِّعَمْ مِنْ غَيْرِ حَرَجٍ إِلَّا يُوهَمْ إلى ما يوهم تزكية النفس في الدينيات والتبجح بالدنيا في الدنيويات والأعمال البينات والخير كله في الاتقاء بالسلف الصالح في جميع الحالات والله تعالى أعلم. So he says, it is part of God's righteousness in religious matters or insolence in matters of the world. Deeds are according to the intentions behind them, and all good comes from following our virtuous predecessors in all circumstances, and God knows best. So that's the verbalization. وَأَمَّا بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ فَحَدِّثْ. Don't whinge, in other words. Don't go around whinging and complaining. Right? What's the way that we've taught, and the Prophet taught us, alayhi salatu wasalam, that when we have to maintain self-restraint or self-discipline, how do we sweeten that sourness or that bitterness of self-restraint and bitterness? That's one thing. Right? Gratitude. Yeah? This is the whole point of this whole chapter. Yeah, didn't we say it like 5 times last week and 10 times the week before? What, did I not explain it properly or what? Alright, so that's what I want you to get. That's the point. Everything is just kind of highlighting that point. Yeah? He said, Iman, how many parts did he say in this chapter? There's heaps of Iman, but Iman, how many parts? And what are they? Which mean? In English? Right? That's it. Full stop. Live your life. Live your life. You get those two, your life's worth living. You will actually have an enjoyable life. Those two.
Self-discipline?
And gratitude. No.
Can you repeat like the first sentence of the Arabic? That paragraph?
He says, من الشكر التحدث بالنعم من غير خروج إلى ما يوهم تزكية النفس في الدينيات والتبجح بالدنيا في الدنيويات والأعمال. So like he's using pretty heavy duty descriptive words that talk about how an individual overindulges either firstly in terms of, he says, that a person, min al-shukri at-tahaddus, so to say alhamdulillah, to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and use one's faculties in a way that's pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Right? Min ghayri, and then, sorry, excuse me, he's talking about the verbalization, my bad. The verbalization of whatever Allah's given you. Alhamdulillah, Allah's given me this and Allah's given me that, and alhamdulillah, Allah's generous. That's one thing. Allah's given us, human beings, the sun and all the things we just mentioned previously, the way we exist, and alhamdulillah, He's given us each other. He's given us the Prophet of Allah, sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi wa sallam. How can a ummah that has the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi wa sahbihi wa sallam as their Nabi ever complain about anything?
No way.
How? What's he left unexplained, unturned, unknown? What? Of this world and of the next world and of Allah. How? Why? How? Always whinging, Why? Want to rule the world. That's our issue. Like, we don't want Islam, Habibi. That's not what we want. We want to rule the world. Habibi, that's what they want. That's what the shaitan wants. Worry about ruling the world. Leave the world to the world. To the world, the Rabbul Alameen. Worry about yourself. Organize yourself. Make dua that Allah rectifies the rest of it. And don't let yourself negatively affect the world that you're in. That's it. Simple. And if you could positively affect it, alhamdulillah, that's it. You're achieving the goal that Allah wants you to achieve, as shown to you by Sayyid al-Mursaleen wa Nabiyyin wa Sayyid Khalqillah subhanahu wa ta'ala wa Sayyid Walad Adam Rasulullah. That's what He said to us. Do that, go. If you can change it, great. If not, in your heart, ask Allah to do it. That's it. Game over, go home, pack up the books, turn off the thing, turn off the lights, turn off the AC, get in your car, go to sleep. It's enough. Why is it that we're upset and okay, there's oppression, no doubt whatsoever. No doubt whatsoever. There's not oppression next door. There's not oppression down the road. You're not an oppressor. You're not oppressing your wife, your husband, your children, your mother, your father. You fix that up and then go and whinge about the rest of it. So use it in a way, use your mouth, your tongue to give shukr, to say alhamd and shukr, because one goes with the other. Hamd stops at the tongue, shukr goes to the action. He says, إلى ما يوهم التزكية من غير خروج. So don't be so like, yeah, Allah gave me this, yeah, Allah gave me that, yeah, Allah's so good to me. That one, that a person thinks they're better than others in the affairs of the deen. Doesn't it say that in English? Into anything that might suggest self-righteousness in religious matters. Okay? No, I'm better than everyone. Like, thinking a person being arrogant in the affairs of the dunya isn't good. But it's worse to be arrogant in the affairs of the deen. Does that make sense? Like, oh, I got more money than everyone. That's no good. But it's better than saying, I got more taqwa, or more iman, or more something, or I pray better. Oh, that's heaps worse. Because no one really knows that. I can count my money, you can count your money. We can compare. We can say, I'm stronger than you, you're stronger than me, or let's lift something. Yeah? We can have a competition and we can see. But no one knows what's in here. That's His domain, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So arrogance in that is saying to Allah, I know more than you. Alright? Or insolence in matters of the world, which is the next part of it. He says, وَالتَّبَجُّحْ بِالدُّنْيَا فِي الدُّنْيَوِيَاتِ. Yani, right? My car, my phone. Here's my life. Don't touch my phone. There was a funny meme the other day. The bloke, he was on the ground and he had his phone and he said to his wife, partner, whatever, I'm going to die, call the ambulance. She said, give me your phone. He gave her the phone. She said, give me the password. He goes, no, I'm all right. Took the phone. So I'm not going to give him the password because my life is contained in my phone. That's why it's such an immense thing. My life is in there. Me. I'm in that phone. What I think, what I believe, even what I feel on occasion. So, not that I'm better than anyone in that. Deeds are according to the intentions behind them, and all God comes from following our virtuous predecessors in all circumstances, and God knows best. So this is وَالْخَيْرُ كُلُّ فِي اِقْتِدَاءِ السَّلَفِ الصَّالِحِ. That's it. What else do you want to do? How do we know anything about this stuff? How do we know anything about anything except through those people, the pious predecessors? And you hear some people saying, we follow the Salafis, we follow the Salaf al-Salih, we're Salafis. How? They got two sheikhs that lived 100 years ago, a couple of hundred years ago, and they chose a couple that lived about 700 years ago, and there's this massive gap. Massive gaps all the way through. Alhamdulillah, the minhaj that we took from is that our sheikh took from a sheikh, who took from a sheikh, who took from a sheikh, 35 sheikhs. We can count, we know every single name of every single sheikh and every single student who studied from every single sheikh all the way back to the Prophet of Allah ﷺ. That's called salaf. That's called salafi. Every single sheikh, where he studied, who his teachers were, what books he studied, where she studied, who they, because some of them came from Sayyidatuna Nafisa, the aunt of the Prophet of Allah ﷺ, Sayyidatuna Aisha, different, not just the male, I'm just saying that, but it's not just the males. All the books they studied, we know the books they studied. We know how many years they spent with each sheikh who came before them. That's what salafi is, that's the salaf. Not this, I'm going to just read in the book and make it up myself and decide that that's what the salaf did. How do you know what the salaf did? Where'd you get that from? What, you read it in the book? So you tell me any one book, put the Qur'an aside, because it's not actually a book, it's a revelation, but it is. Tell me any one book that describes every single thing about any one job. That if you read that book, you'll know every single thing about that occupation. Tell me one book that describes every single thing, right, about any activity, as trivial as it may be. Doesn't exist. So it's not just in the books. The books are just for a reminder, a jog our memory that we don't miss that point. That's what the books are there for, and they do preserve the knowledge in and of itself, but they don't preserve the knowledge of the salaf. Knowledge of the salaf isn't about actions and mannerisms and akhlaq and adab. That's what it's about. You can't learn that in the books. You have to learn that from the hearts of the men and the women that came before. How they acted with each other, how they respected each other, how they acted with the poor, how they acted with the children, how they acted with men, how they acted with women, how they acted, how they did all these things. It's not in the books. You can't find it there. Right? It's in the disposition of these people. So, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, that's a great thing to give shukr about. And how do we truly give shukr about it? After learning it, we give thanks for it, and then we implement it in our lives. There's no point just memorizing the book and never implementing it. That's not going to benefit us, and nor is it going to it's not true shukr either. So the true shukr of the things that we learn is to implement them, inshaAllah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So anyone has to go, you can go.